I do my dreamcore and weirdcore content, I do a lot of edits on Photoshop, and while I don't usually share this, I thought today we could go through and watch a speed edit of how I did a couple of these monsters for my recent video. I also thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to talk about the video and maybe just talk about the void, so who knows, this video is an experiment. By the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Asher, I'm a weirdcore and dreamcore creator, and welcome to my channel. It's 1 AM, I am exhausted. Now Void 1 was a video I had teased for months, and it was honestly a really big struggle figuring out what I wanted the plotline to be, but in the end I figured out that the plotline would be is that Argos has to go to Void 1 to rescue a child that has been lost there, and basically brings them back out of the void, but is too late and they've been in Void 1 for too long and they get transformed by the atmosphere that turns creatures and plants into monsters. So I think a huge part of this video was making sure that the monsters at the end of the video looked really good and looked pretty cool, and I think I kind of accomplished that. Right here I'm editing one of the plant monsters. I kind of wanted to go for more of a Junji Ito kind of vibe. When you look at Junji Ito's comics, he has a lot of very thin lines and a lot of detail, and that's really what I wanted to go for here. I feel like I did an okay job with that. I had basically drawn each of these pieces and then taken a photo, and right now I'm clipping each one out. I use the red background so I can make sure that I don't have any little white bits or any bits that I don't want to then move onto the actual background. But basically I went through and I made all these tentacles for this tentacle creature because I also wanted a creature that really contrasted with the sort of spider plant creature I created, which was the other creature I created for this void. And I feel like I actually really liked how this one ended up coming out. It's a little cheesy, you'll see at the end, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think something that really stressed me out about Void 1 was just that so many people had such high expectations for what it was gonna be. I tried my best to make the lore super interesting for each of my videos, and I think maybe with this one I just overhyped it a little too much, because I think what I originally planned to do was I originally planned to have one big bad kind of monster in Void 1 that was the monster that Argos was terrified of, some sort of ultimate monster from Legends, and I was planning to do something like that with some intense monster animation, but then I kind of felt like it was a little cheesy and maybe a little dumb. I wanted to have something that was a little bit more interesting and a little bit more shocking for the twist at the end, and so I thought having the actual monster be sort of the atmosphere that turns these creatures into monsters was a way more interesting idea. Here I'm cutting out the Vita flower, which was seen in a previous episode of Mr. Plant. It was seen in the Mr. Plant and the Flowers episode, and I thought it would be kind of fun to make this life flower be one of the flowers that's transformed by Void 1. I also had to discover and try to figure out what sort of flowers would be in Void 1. I ended up picking the flowers I thought were a little more weirdcore-y and a little bit more on theme, and then also this flower just because I thought it was funny, and also the fact that the eye and the petals of the flower match, which by the way you can notice on the eye that I took a bruise wheel and I colored it through that way by putting a little bit of red around the edges. I like doing that with my masks and my eyes a lot. I think it adds a little bit of extra texture, and here I'm sort of blending it into the ground so it looks like these creatures' tentacles are coming up from the ground. I honestly feel like I should have made it look like the ground was a little more solid, because right now it almost looks like the carpet is water, and it's obviously not. Which, by the way, I love that the apartment I'm living in right now has a carpeted floor, because I think it adds to the weirdcore aesthetic so much more, which is funny because outside of filming, I think a carpeted floor it's perhaps not my favorite, but for filming stuff like this, I think it's absolutely perfect. People are always commenting on my videos and being oh my god, the atmosphere is so perfect for your videos, and I really love that. So here I basically went through and cut out my arms to try to make it seem oh, this monster is torn apart a human, and I think this came out okay. This is the part that I felt was the most cheesy of this image. I also added a little bit of red to the bottom of this cut off arm here, but I couldn't have it drip because I was animating the eyeball, so I was what am I supposed to do? But I basically just added one hand up there and one hand down there, and I figured, listen, this was already taking an hour to edit together, and I had so many hours of work to get done for this video. My final crunch, right before posting this video, I did 14 hours of work straight. I did 10 hours of work. I briefly slept for like a few hours, and then I woke up and went back to working for another 4 hours, and then I started posting everything. So this was one of those videos that took an insane amount of time, and I really wanted it to be as good as possible, because I also had a bunch of other clips to edit, including Millie, the child puppet that Argos rescues. Her head turning was a whole different thing, and then obviously this took quite a bit of time. I do feel like this is kind of like such a big thing for the world of Mr. Plant. This video didn't do super well overall, but I was pretty happy with how it came out in the end, so in a way that's almost good enough for me, and I loved getting to tell a little story that wasn't Gardening with Argos. Not that I don't love doing the Gardening Argos series, that might be my favorite videos to make. I just felt like, you know, it was fun to do something different, and I want to do some more like horror stuff. I don't feel like this video was super scary, but I do want to do something a little bit more horror themed, so I'm gonna see if I can come up with some pretty scary videos to do next, because I do scary videos usually, I just haven't in a pretty long time now. So now right here I'm doing the blink, and the blink is super easy to do. I basically just create an eyelid and then erase it bit by bit, and I save each frame as I'm erasing, and you can easily do that to create a blink animation. I think all you guys should try it out because it's super easy. So here I'm creating one of the human monsters, one of the monsters that's creature transformed, and I was kind of going for more of a like sort of biblically accurate angel, sort of multi-armed being, and I have these glowing like sort of cryptid eyes. I feel like these came out okay. I sort of struggle with where these edits and the previous edits blend together in the world. I almost feel like the plant edits make less sense for Void 1 in a way, and this is more of a monster that would have been in there, but I couldn't come up with a lot of variety for this arm thing. Like, I had trouble making unique characters for this, so that's why it's sort of a blend between the two, and also, obviously, a huge part of the plot hinges on Argos taking a friendship flower out of this void. But I ended up taking tentacles from the other clip and putting them in here to kind of try to like blend the clips together, because I had a bunch of these like multi-arm clips, and because a lot of them didn't have plants in them, I was worried that it was kind of gonna not meld, so I added some plants in here, and you can see I adjusted the shadows because some of the shadows were like, whew, way too far back. And that was the whole video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was pretty much just me ranting and raving and sounding like a lunatic. But, you know, I had a lot of fun making this video, and I've worked really hard on it. It's so difficult making the videos I do, but when I see the final product, it fills me with so much joy that I get to create and just make so many things from scratch and create sort of my own characters for myself. If you aren't subscribed to me, please subscribe. It really helps me out and it means the absolute world to me. And also, if you want to, check out my Patreon. My Patreon is definitely the best way to support me, and if you want to have your name at the end of this video, just join the Giving Flower tier. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm now going to play the Void 1 video just so you can see how the clips worked into the general story, so here it is.
Traveling to some voids can be difficult, but it's often necessary to rescue lost children.
My baby cousin got lost in the void. Can you save her for me?
Absolutely. What void did she get lost in?
Void 1. Are you there?
Void 1 has been forbidden for as long as I can remember, partially because of its unique atmosphere. The few visitors to this void have noted the strange air, thick and damp, and have seen horrific creatures wandering the halls. Come with me.
Can we bring the friendship flower with us? It kept me company.
Let's just take it and go. It's not safe here. Nothing is supposed to leave this void, and with good reason. How long was your cousin lost in Void 1?
She's absolutely fine.
Okay, let me know if anything changes. The monsters inside Void 1 are simply the creatures who got trapped in there for too long, mutated by the atmosphere. And there's no going back.